So, I think to get more people in there, council volunteer.
Two guys in my troop.
Okay. Stay standing, Rich. Another 30 seconds, maybe. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Scout salute our head over heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Scout sign. On my honor,
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the outlaw, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
The Scout is
Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
2. Please be seated. Thank you all for coming to the May Roundtable, the last one for the 22-23 scouting year. Because next month will be at program launch at Camp Tuckahoe, first Thursday of June. Kind of hard to say, June. But anyway, that will, of course, begin the kickoff of our brand new scouting year. So I can encourage you all to make sure you have that on your calendars, make sure you register. I believe the first 4 individuals of your unit are free to attend. We'll have burgers and hot dogs and that type of good stuff. Anything after that, I think you'll pay a small nominal fee to try and help us offset the food expenses for that. Obviously, it'll be at Tuckahoe again. Kind of the details are on Tentaroo, where shows you all the sign-up stuff, so we know who's coming and how much food to actually buy for. So please do that in that process. So I've got some more to say, but I'll kind of save my additional stuff for the end. I'm going to kind of go through the district vice chairs and the rest of that stuff here momentarily. For those of you who might notice, I've gotten the iPad up and recording. So I'll kind of, for those that are presenting, please come on all the way up and join us up front so you can actually get your face up and shown. My intent going forward in 23-24, I was talking to a couple of you already, is to move this band upstairs into the tech room, and hopefully we'll be able to take that onto a kind of a hybrid approach. We'll be able to transmit that so you can join in from whether you're at home or whether you're here. Hopefully I can see all of your wonderful faces right here, actually upstairs in the tech room. I've already talked to Father Elise about that, so that's what we'll be doing for the 23-24 season, doing it right at the tech room. There's a couple of different reasons. One, we won't have the thundering herd come November, December, as well as the HVAC system when it blows all our ears out and I have to increase my volume by 20 decibels or so. So that's the intent of why I'm doing that, and hopefully we'll be able to have that going forward, and you'll be able to see this if you happen to not be able to make it, not be able to see your lovely faces, see it after the fact, or possibly if you're running late, you can just connect remotely, whatever that works for you. With that said, let's see, who do we have first? Okay, Rich, why don't you come on up here with FOS and tell us what's going on there? Of course, I'm writing in the middle of an email, aren't you?
I'm in the middle of finding out the data that you want me to.
Okay, well, how about the other Rich behind you?
We'll be right back.
We'll come back. Come on up. You got anything for camping?
Didn't come prepared. I guess I did.
It's like a whole summer coming up.
We got a whole summer worth of stuff. I mean, I can go on about summer camp, but I'll let you do your thing. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, there's a whole, like you said, there's a whole summer camp season ahead. What else to say?
Okay.
There's a lot of units are registered for Camp Tuckahoe, and even more for Hidden Valley, we have Cub Packs registered for the summer camps, Webelos Cub Camp and Twilight Camp in July. So there's a lot going on, but it's all kind of running its own course. I don't have anything control over that.
No. Well, hopefully it's on course with all that stuff. All right, so both of the camps are utilizing the Order of the Arrow for both their inductions, both in April and May, to try and get the summer camps ready for the summer season. There's also what they call Beaver Days. What Beaver Days are the ability for us to go into camp and try and get the camps ready for all the people who are going to attend. It could be simple as setting up some tents, putting cots in the appropriate places, getting mattresses, all that type of stuff, getting the pool. I thought I saw some pictures with our lovely chair blasting the pool.
Past year.
Pastures, okay. But getting the pools ready for their upcoming seasons, generally pressure washers and those type of things, and the manpower to make all that happen and get them ready for the pools is always a beneficial thing. If you have some spare time to do that, either during Beaver Days or just have some spare time and it doesn't happen to fit with your schedule with Beaver Days, contact the Rangers in Hidden Valley and Tuckahoe. They can always use the help, whether in groups or, the more the merrier as far as that part's concerned. So if you can do that, by all means, try and make that happen. It makes our camps that much better all the way around and makes us better prepared for them when they all arrive. We still have a number of openings, both at Camp Tuckahoe and Hidden Valley, so if you haven't quite gotten that all squared away or something's not quite right and you need to get into a camp, contact Camping Services. They'll be more than happy to take your reservation and get you slid in there, or if you have another den that wants to get to, be it Webelos Camp or one of the other weekends, by all means, get in contact and get them registered. Alrighty, so, enough time?
Yes.
Excellent!
Alright. So we're coming to the bitter end. We're down to, I have 11 scheduled to do and 14 units that have not responded. And we're also starting to schedule phone-a-thons. Roger sent out a, what was the list? What's that called? A poll. So if you've received an email from Roger, you know who you are. And if you wanted to volunteer and help us do the phone-a-thon, we end up going to the Scout Center so that the phone says Boy Scouts of America. That's really handy. People actually might answer their telephone when they see that. And we'll have multiple. How many do you think we'll hold? 2 or 3?
Yes.
So we'll hold 2 or 3 of those. Yeah, I'm down to 11 more presentations and 14 to schedule. And so far we've collected just short of $22,000. So that's my report.
Awesome!
Thank you.
All right. So, do we have something here, Scott, for you, or you do? Okay. Unfortunately, my technical assistant, Michael, the guy in charge of Roundtable, only has 2 Eagle boards and 2 Eagle candidates he's got to present up to the Eagle board, so he had to go run and do that. So you'll have to excuse me while I quote unquote pitch in this process.
Okay, so this is the program. Do you have anything else you need to?
Yeah, do you wanna?
Sir?
Oh, it's just a program. No. Give me a minute then.
Yeah, I maybe you didn't understand, but I'm actually the emergency substitute program.
Yeah, I got part of that. I thought you may have had a membership minute.
Well, I can do
But
that.
now it's gonna. No, it's all right. You can do it, wrap it all into one. That'll work.
Why don't you finish with the other?
Yeah. Okay. Because we'll hear Scott most of the evening, so that's fine. All right. We don't have any different activities. That's interesting. Okay. Do you want to tackle that, Chip? Or you want me to?
I'll let you do activities and I'll do finance.
Sweet! Loving it. All righty. So, let's see. Activities. We just wrapped up the Spring Camporee, which I thought was a wonderful success. Minus a little bit of NIR. And for those that are wood badgers understand what the heck I'm talking about, if you reverse rain, that's NIR. That's what we kind of refer to it, because we don't like to say that bad word when we're trying to do outings. But
It's like Evian. water.
Yeah, something like that.
Backwards.
Yep. So, we had a little bit of a kind of a shutdown midday, with, it really pouring, at that point. But, DCNR came out and gave us a wonderful program. They actually brought a live bear out, and we had, all the scouts were able to, actually get pictures with the live bear. So, here we go. A little more volume, a little more projection, in that process. So, of course, the bear was very tranquilized and not quite there anymore, but it all worked out very well. We all had a good time until the rain, and the Fish and Game Commission also came out. We had a fish conservation officer also present, so I want to thank all of them. And I did at the time, but they really did a wonderful job for all of the scouts, giving them a really interesting program for them to attend. So, really, really good stuff as far as that part's concerned. Obviously, we're talking about from upcoming activities. From a district standpoint, we really don't have a lot on the books at the moment because mostly either council events. We got program launch, which is obviously I've already gone through on June 1. We have Wizard Safari, right, in September, October. So by all means, unit signups are open now. So please do that. So we have some idea how many units we're talking about. Our goal, of course, is to hit 3,200 people. Any help that, from a staffing standpoint, you can provide, by all means. We've been touting that for about 6 months, but I'll continue to tout it. I can use all the help that I can get from the registration and commissioner staff, all of the program teams. Whatever you like to do, please let us know. We'll be more than glad to take whatever time, whatever slice of time that you can spare in that process. So please consider doing that as we go forward. I think that's all I have for activities. Yes, Morgan?
We need to know how many people are coming to with this party.
Not initially. If you put in a couple, tell us that your unit's intending on coming, and then kind of update us if we get a little further down the road. That's also fine. Put a minimum registration in for 5 or whatever the case may be. You can increase it later as we go down the pike. That would be fantastic. Just that gives the facilities team the ability to say, oh, I need a campsite for that and a campsite for this, and they can start plotting campsites. Rough idea on campsites as far as that part's concerned. So, yes, please do so if you can. Try and be somewhat realistic, but don't go over in the respect that doing refunds is just not what we want to try and have accounting do. Okay? Make sense? Any other questions on that? Awesome. Alrighty. Chip, it's all you.
Well, first thing, the positive news, this weekend we get to honor 3 of our own that are getting District Award of Merit, Steve Michelone, Jeff Conley, and Mike Reeder, and that'll be done at Tuckahoe on Saturday evening. And our own Mike Sargent, who I guess he did walk back in the room.
Stand up, Mike.
Is being honored as a Silver Beaver, one of 5 people in our council. So I'm really proud of these guys. If we can give them a round of applause, I think we Twilight Camp. How many units that are Cubs are considering Twilight Camp that are here tonight? Because I don't think we've seen a rush yet. Okay, so we want to start, emphasizing that a little more. I know, a lot of PACs have got their youth signed up to go to summer camp, but this is an addition. And I know I do the Tigers, and so it looks like I'll be Twilight camping and then going to summer camp the same week. So,
Sweet.
Sounds fun. But just to keep that on your radar, I'd ask you to be prepared. Going into this next year, and Scott's going to talk about membership, but we really need to be geared up to have a phenomenal year in scouting. I don't know what you're seeing, but I know the unit that I help with as assistant scoutmaster We're still doing scouting the way we've always done it, but I will tell you, in years past, we would have 40 kids, and now we have 17 active kids, and so anything we could do to build the packs, make sure we have den chiefs, and Scott's going to go into this at length, but and you have the leaders trained, and if you're in a pack position, have them ready to go, hit the ground running as soon as we have the new youth, so we can start our year, and please don't stop in the summer, which I'm sure he'll talk about too. Keystone Capital chapter of the Order of the Arrow, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but it was a really, really fun induction weekend. This last weekend, we had 67 new Arrowmen go through. We blew the Scott McCord, our new Ranger's mind. He never thought we'd get through the jobs he had lined up, and we were begging for more jobs the whole time. In fact, I heard the person that handles the advisor for the OA, and he said, we wanted to shoot to the moon, but we got to go there twice. And so that was a real positive. The Order of the Arrow has been affected like many other things, a really good turnout. And Mike has done a great job with his chapter. We have 39 Arrowmen out of our district. The only concerning thing, and Mike and I have talked about this, there's not a single adult in that crowd this year. So if you have adults in your unit that are eligible to be in the OA, please put them in next year. I mean, it's unusual that we had no adults out of that whole crowd. And if you have somebody that needs a special way in, see me. Okay, I'll just leave it that way. As far as finance, good news. The Hershey breakfast, right now, we're $31 from $59,000 raised. And our goal was 63. I know my Rotary Club usually gives, hopefully $2,000, and that's coming up in the fall. We have some other donors that, as long as they stay on this earth, give us money. So we're probably there already, but we don't want to count our chickens yet. But anyway, so that one's in the cycle. And that's a lot due to Roger, because he really puts together an incredible program and everything. And we had a lot of cute Cub Scouts this time at breakfast, and I'll tell you that got us more money on the day up, which was interesting. The Harrisburg breakfast is off to a good start. We had our kickoff meeting last week. I don't know if you know Tom Laudermillick, but he was an honoree last year, and he's actually come back to help, which is awesome. Because a lot of times we see them for 1 year and they move on. He's already raised himself $10,000 from his organization, and I know he's going back to all his people. So right now we're at $10,675 towards our $45,000 goal. So it's a heck of a start at this point, going into the breakfast, which is on June 22nd. If you're interested in attending, see Roger, myself, Carlos, we'll get you hooked up.
Actually have some invites.
You have some invites, okay. So, lot of good things happening right now in scouting. We just ask that we keep the momentum going and listen very clearly to Scott's concepts to get us over the hump and start growing again in our packs, so our troops don't perish along the way. Okay, thank you.
Up to you. Whatever.
All right, do I gotta be in front of this thing talking?
Yeah,
That is?
you do.
Okay.
And
Good
blind,
evening.
for the same token.
What's that?
You're gonna be blind too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good evening, guys. I just want to reiterate on some of the things that Chip was saying with the OA. So, again, we continue to have chapter meetings. I encourage you to speak to your Arrowmen that you have in your units to come out to the chapter meetings. We're still trying to plan a lot of fun events. I think they just planned tonight to just have a mini golf outing in May over at the Meadows, I think on the 21st at 6 o'clock. So something a lot about that. We're looking at doing some activities this summer, possibly a day hike. I think they were talking about going up to maybe Detweiler or something. I think the real motivation there was they wanted to go to 3B ice cream afterwards when they were done, so I understood the connection where they were going with that. So we're trying to do some fun things with the chapter. So I encourage, the more hourmen we can get out to chapter meetings. Fortunately, this is probably the last one for this program here, but we'll start it back up in August. But again, I just encourage the more they can come out, the better, bounce around ideas for some fun things that we can be trying to do with our chapter. As Chip said, 67 from the lot or from the council went through inductions this weekend. I think we had 16 of our 39 that were elected, so we still have 23 to go. We have 2 more inductions left. One's coming up in May in 2 weeks. I forget the exact dates. It was on the screen there. 19th, 20th, 21st, something like that. I forget the exact dates. But I think we do have a couple already signed up for that. I know there's like 40 some already signed up in total from all the chapters or the entire council. But I would encourage you to speak to any of your hourmen that did not take induction that were elected to sign up for May. Their last chance will be in August. I think it's the 3rd weekend in August will be their last chance to go through induction this year. So strongly encourage them to be able to come out and do that. For any of the hourmen that just went through, they're now invited back. They can come back and serve as an legamat at May induction or in August. They can help on staff. We're looking for folks to help with ceremonies. So there's a lot of opportunities for the scouts to get involved now that they've gone through induction. We hope it's not a what's been referred to as a sash and dash moment where they get their sash and we never see them again in the OA. We really want them to be involved as much as possible and be helping and contributing some service around the camps. And in the process, meeting a lot of new scouts and making some new friendships along the way. So there'll be opportunities to be part of the chapter next year. Any adults, I'm looking for an associate or 2 chapter advisor. So if anybody's interested in getting involved with the OA at the chapter level, please see me. There's opportunities at the lodge level as well to be involved. So this was the biggest induction, I think, since pre-COVID, from what I understood, by far. So that's a good sign for the lodge. It's growing. We got a lot more coming in, hopefully here in May and August. So it's all good things from the standpoint of the OA as far as membership goes. So I think that's all I have to report on with the OA.
Great. I think that was my introduction. Yep. All right, great. Thanks. Good evening, everyone. Just a few things, circling back on some things that others said and some new items as well. What Chip failed to mention about the Hershey Breakfast, which is under his leadership as the chairman of that event, it's 99% to its goal right now. So we're to the goal or to what we did last year. I think it was 99 to what we did last year. I think
It's probably not to the goal.
Yeah, it's 99% to what we did last year. So we're almost over that hump of what we did last year and just on to the goal. So a few more $1,000, like Chip said. The Harrisburg Scouting Breakfast, like he said, June 22nd. It's at the Sheraton Harrisburg Hershey Hotel. I do look for some, as Chip mentioned, some scouts to help with the opening ceremony, to do flags, scout oath, scout law, an invocation. Usually about 6 scouts. I like to keep them in the Harrisburg area. Not too many from the same pack or troop. So I'll be looking for that. If you have any, either your own child or somebody in the unit that you think would be good to be front and center, a nice uniform, likes to show up at hotels at 6 a.m. to carry a flag, let me know, and that'll be great. So it's a great event. We have about 63 people. We have 63 people signed up so far to attend. We usually get about 120 something. And Chip, our number is actually a little higher today. It's almost 19,000 already raised. So that's 42% of the goal, the answer to everything. So appreciate the hard work on that. That's led by Joe Robinson, who's also our nominating chairman. And if you'd like to attend yourself or want more information, I do have some invitations that I put in the Harrisburg Scouting folders, Harrisburg Packs and Troops folders, or I have some extras here today if you'd like to attend. It's a Thursday morning towards the end of June at the Sheraton near Chick-fil-A down that end of town. Every month I go by and I was like, oh, I'd like to say something, and I never do. But it's just like a pet peeve, and maybe you can take it back to your unit. A lot of people fall into this, and it's so minuscule of the grand scheme of things that we worry about. But a lot of people miss the word "and" in the Scout Oath.
that it's and to obey the Scout law. So we say, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law. Some people miss that article. So if you look in the Scout handbook and you see that the word and is in there, you can pass that on to your Scouts. It's not a list of things. That's actually part of a different sentence. So, when you get a pet peeve and you get a platform, you get a chance to talk about it. It's not convenient. Program launch is coming up, as I think Carlos said, in June, a month from today. That's when we first get our list together of dates, times, and locations for sign-up nights in September. So take a look at your calendars, particularly in PAX, and look at when you'd like to have your sign-up night, your recruitment night in September. A date, time, and location that we can get flyers into the schools and get the whole process going to make sure we do at least the basics on that, plus a lot more that Scott will talk about. And if you're with a troop, support your pack. Coordinate with that date so that at least maybe the Scoutmaster and Senior Patrol Leader are there, or Den Chiefs are there. A lot of times there's an 11-year-old that walks in that wants to join Cub Scouts. He's like, we can probably go to the troop at 11 years old. So a lot of times families don't know that, or there's an older brother. Work with your packs that will, in a month we'll be looking for the dates, time, locations for your September sign-up night. July 17th through 21st is Twilight Camp, as Chip mentioned. There's 5 signed up so far. We had a day camp meeting last night. So we are actively looking for more folks to come to camp. The price increases on May 15th, and that's not too far away. So if you're in a Cub Scout pack, please get your Cub Scouts to register on Tentaroo, whether you do that as a pack or as individuals, but please make sure that your families are signing up. If you're in a troop, we're looking for Den Chiefs to help with that as well. I was a Den Chief when I was 13 years old. I just found day camp, and my troop wasn't involved in it at all, and I was like, this is awesome. And I really enjoyed it and liked working with the Cubs and everything when I was a teenager. So I had a great experience with that and was a Den Chief at camp the following year too. So pass that on to your Scouts. It's a lot of times Scouts aren't aware of the opportunity to volunteer as a Den Chief, and it can be a lot of fun working with the Cub Scouts for a week. And it's just from 6 to 9, 5 days a week from July 17th through 21st. So it's not a big time commitment. It's cooler, the sun's going down, it's a nice time of day to have camp. If you're new here, our folders are here, Cub Scout folders and Scouts BSA folders. Make sure you check the contents of your unit's folder and take it away. Don't take the folder, just take the contents. For applications, Carlos mentioned this a couple roundtables ago. You can do your applications online. If you have your beascout.org pin set up, you can also do transfers where the pack can push Cubs into the troop when they're transferring. So look into that to see if your pin is enabled for online registration, and you can do that at my.scouting.org. Also, be aware when people want to join your unit, the Cub Master, Scout Master, the committee chair, should be getting emails saying, hey, you have a new lead. You ever get those? You have a new lead. You have a new application. Somebody wants to join your unit. Please follow up with that. That's somebody in the public saying, hey, I want to join Troop 123, and don't leave them hanging. Reach out to them and try to get them ready to join. For Scout troops, NYLT has about 15 or 18 spots left. So if you have Scouts that are 13 years old and first class, you have to be 13 and first class by the time the course starts. Sign up for National Youth Leadership Training. It'll change their lives. It'll change your troops' life as well. So it's an excellent training for your Scouts, starting at age 13 in first class. Hidden Valley's looking for staff. Todd came out to our camporee and also put some green flyers in some of the troop folders. So if you have Scouts that would like to work at camp for the summer, I was on camp staff too, and it's pretty awesome. Pass that on to them. And finally, the e-news comes out every Thursday, except last Thursday, I forgot. So watch your emails every Thursday for the e-news. I sent an email out to all the unit leaders just to make sure that everybody's getting the e-news. We have about 380 that get them. About half open up the email and look at it. But we want to make sure that especially new people are aware of that. A lot of times people go, what's a roundtable? What's the e-news? I never heard of that, Facebook. So pass that information on to your den leaders, assistant scoutmasters, other volunteers. Carlos can stop looking at his watch and off we go. Okay, I'm here all night. I saw that.
Did you now?
Roger gonna
Did
shut up.
you now?
All right.
So I am going to take a minute before I introduce Scott, but I'm going to put him in the bullpen, as it were, to kind of go through a commissioner minute, as it were. So the pin's an important piece. If you want to learn more about how to actually work with the pin, then come to program launch. You'll actually have a course on how to go through the whole process, get your pin set up, get your, and use all the tools in My.Scouting, how to get the QR code out there, lay it all out, and use their phone or an iPad or whatever the case may be so they can do an online piece. How many here have waited at council or for the council or the process of an application to be processed and like, it's not in Scout Book, it's not in Scout Book, it's not in Scout Book? How many have waited for that? You're in control. You can do it yourself. Just enable online applications, give it to the parent, let them do it. The next day, they're in Scout Book. Because no one has to touch it. Roger doesn't have to touch it. The registrar doesn't have to touch it. You want to learn how? Come to program launch. Guess who's happened to be teaching that particular course? Anywho,
For you.
for you, adults you can't do, maybe shortly,
Right.
but today, adults can't do that, but it's the youth. You want to get the youth in the system? Come to program launch. I'll show you how, from soup to nuts, as well as a few other tools in My.Scouting. All right, what are you guys worrying about right this minute? Both packs and troops. You're probably trying to close out the year. You're worrying about the packs. You're trying to bridge your scouts over, going from wolf to bear to webelow, so on and so forth. I'm hoping at this point you're not doing anything with your arrow of lights. You've already bridged them on. If you haven't, you really need to fix that, because what you're doing is you're making their job much more difficult. Why? Because your arrow of light scouts aren't building those relationships with those scouts. Okay? They're going to go to camp and they're going to be miserable because they have no friends. Okay? Get them into the troop. Get them there. Get them transferred. Get them into the troop so they can start building those relationships. They've only got a month worth of meetings to try and build some sort of relationship before they hit camp or thereabouts. Okay? So do that. From a budgetary standpoint, particularly for the committee chairs that might be here, okay? What broke the budget this year? What do you have excess money for? As you're building that 23-24 budget, oh, my trailer, we had to spend an extra money that really wasn't budgeted, and that kind of broke that pot. You gonna need that next year? Probably not. Okay, it was one of those unexpected expenses. They happen. We get that. But did you spend more on awards than you planned? Did you spend more on other? Look at the individual categories so you have a good budget going forward. Those are those planning type of meetings you should be doing in your committee as you go forward. Look at your JTE. It's a good guide to go through all those pieces and say, how did I do in this? And how am I doing on this? And how am I doing on that? Okay? Youth protection. Youth protection expires at any point in time during the year. Where are you at? Who needs to get the youth protection? Can't go to camp without it. They'll stop you at the front door and have you start taking youth protection in order to come to camp. Get it corrected, get it done now. You won't have that problem later. Same thing with medical forms. If you haven't got the medical forms for your kids, that's going to be a problem when you go to camp. So work on trying to get that taken care of. Training. We're going to summer camp, right? What's being offered? Is safe swim defense being offered? Is weather hazard being offered? Is safety afloat being offered? Is IOLS being offered? What's available at the camp? Your scoutmasters or assistant scoutmasters are going to be at camp anyway. Who's not trained? Get it knocked out. They can sit with the first years and knock it out in some cases, depending upon the camp. Check with the individual camp you're going to, and you may be able to knock out that training that you just haven't found time for, okay? Or expand what happens to be there that's going on. What else? There's one other item that I had in my head that I wanted to go through. Youth protection training. So I'm in the process of getting some new commissioners. I have a brand new commissioner who is dedicated to the process of building the relationships between the family packs and the girl troops, okay? So if Adam, who you've seen present here, comes up and says, hello, how you doing, so on and so forth, what he's trying to do is build a relationship between you and get that progression from those girls that can't go into your normal boy troop, build that relationship with their local girl troop, okay? So welcome him, say hello, but that's what he's tasked with, to try and build all those relationships between the family packs and all of those girl troops. I think that's everything I have. Scott, how you doing tonight?
Thumbs up.
Excellent. We got that.
One question related to growing membership.
Yep.
There's been a lot of talk in the forums, and I don't know if it's modifications to the rules or new rules or just somebody explaining the rules that have been around for 10 years. But when the troop is hosting an event, like a weekend camping event, and we invite the Arrow of Lights to that camp.
Yep.
From what I'm reading, and it's still kind of unclear, a lot of times, because we don't have a relationship with them, we want leaders or parents, is what we've done for the Cub Scouts to be there.
Right.
But it seems like that's not, because the event is not a pack. So with a pack event, you can still have parents.
Yes.
Since it's a troop event, inviting the pack, it's a troop event, and now those people need to be registered, paid leaders, even though they're only coming. Is that, I'm not clear what the regulation is, so we're in compliance.
Yep, understand. Okay. So those that are familiar with the 72-hour rule, that goes away in September 1. So I'm not really going to get too crazy into it, but I will answer your question as a function of this process. Okay. Most situations, those parents that come on those Webelow weekends are typically not serving strictly as a parent. Okay. They are contributing to and are adult supervisory staff. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but we still have a trained leader. We always have the trained
I
leaders
understand that.
for the troop.
Okay. What they're making the distinction is that when you get into that situation, and the state law makes that same distinction, is when you have an adult that is acting in a supervisory position, not in a parental position, okay, we need to have clearances. And the BSA is kind of formalizing this process. We need to have them registered. We need to have background checks. We need to have whatever. So the answer is yes. When you invite your Arrow of Lights, Webelows ones, whatever the case, whatever you want, when you invite them to one of your outings, overnight, they need to be an adult registered program level leader, i.e. they can't just be a merit badge counselor.
But in that case, they would have to register at the pack, right? Because their kid is in the pack at that time.
They can register, it doesn't matter where you're registered, okay? If I came to that event, okay, not registered with your pack, I'm not registered with your troop, but I am a registered member of the council, adult registered member in a program level position, and I could be at your outing at that particular case. It doesn't, so long as it's part of that registration process.
But it seemed like there's an exception at the pack level, right?
There is.
Okay, but that exception won't apply for this recruitment.
That is correct. So, again, the assumption goes back to when we're talking about pack family camping, that parent is acting strictly in a parental role only, which we know, but in a parental role only. The moment they've switched over from parental role only into that I'm a leader of the unit, they should be quote unquote fully registered, cleared, all the necessary things as a function of council.
All right, so what that says is parents won't come, because that's too hard to recruit.
Another alternative might be that they come from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, I know, but see, you're trying to integrate them, get excited. We'll deal with it. I want to make sure we're in compliance.
Yes.
The second thing I've read, and I'm not sure that's correct, because everybody says stuff that's not necessarily black and white, is that because you have Cub Scouts at a troop event, you not only need IOLS, but you need a blue trained leader.
No. Troop event.
There's a lot of stuff out there that's completely incorrect.
Yeah, no.
Even the BSA has the black and white, and then they have commentary and the frequent asked questions.
Right.
That is in addition to their black and white. which is incorrect, because it's like, it's not the rules, it's an opinion. It's
Yeah.
very good.
No.
A pack or a den going overnight needs to have one leader who has taken blue. And that doesn't expire, so you just have to take the blue.
That's my point though, so if I don't have parents, if I have a troop, I mean, I have blue, but the thing is, I mean, I think, I don't know, I probably have it.
That's for a pack or a den, not for a troop.
So even though there are Cub Scouts at a troop event that are registered in a pack unit, you don't need a blue trained leader at that event, you need just.
Yeah, they're
Correct.
under your
Whereas people
auspices,
at the
they're
troop.
visiting your
Correct.
troop.
The only thing, as a commissioner, I would advise your unit leaders, your scoutmasters, your assistant scoutmasters, look at the guide to safe scouting. There are certain things that the Webelos are not allowed to do, like operating an axe. You can't teach them axe skills.
Right.
They're not permitted to do that at that age group, okay? So, there are certain things that they're not permitted to do that you would normally do on a, right? You set up an axe yard, so on and so forth. Don't integrate them into that process. Don't try and teach them that next level, that firemanship type process, because they're not there yet. Once you bridge them over, that's a different story. Once you've got a youth application in play and have them transferred, fantastic, do that, but not before.
That's fine. Yeah, we have 3 events that we typically start at the beginning of the year, that we start inviting the Webelo 1 and Webelo 2
Mm-hmm.
to come to build that recruitment. But because we don't know the kids, they get scared, they're young, we have the parents come along in the past, but now they're changing it, and with the registered, you have parents that aren't necessarily active parents, and maybe just try to do it, but going through the whole process, they're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna have to require trained leaders from the pack to accompany them, like
Okay.
a trained den leader or something. So that'll work.
So, to your point, you can do 2 different events. You can run a den level event and a troop level event at the same facility.
Okay.
Okay? That goes back to your blue statement. Okay? That would mean that the Webelo's den is going on an outing. They would need to follow all of the appropriate rules relative to a pack level event, having a blue certified person, having enough coverage, having possibly an adult, again, read the appropriate rules for that particular process, and they would operate a den outing. Next campsite over is a troop, and they're operating a troop outing, and maybe you have some joint events. Okay? In that situation, the parents that are coming to the den level event, operating past pack auspices, are parents. Just parents in that role. Okay? But that's how you would make that happen.
Not to take her, but
So
in that scenario,
that might be why you need quote unquote IOLS and blue, but it's different people.
But in that scenario, you could not have 2 deep leadership, two troop leaders, all trained,
Okay.
2 troop leaders and 1 pack leader. So now you have 3 between. You would need 2 pack leaders, 2 troop leaders. You'd need 4 people to do what you just said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because you need to have 2 distinct,
Yep.
effectively function events. That
Okay.
reason.
And if some of them are girls, then probably need a lady as well.
You can still have male and female, but anyway.
In the
That's
pack.
good.
And the pack
Appreciate it.
doing that type of, with enough separation, again, following the rules appropriate for that process, and you'd follow the troop process over here, and then have some joint activities.
Okay, no, that's clear. I just want to make sure
Now,
that we stay.
and that could be where that person was headed with, I need blue and IOLS. Well, yes, the troop needs IOLS because we need to have a trained scoutmaster, and the pack needs a blue person because they're running a pure pack event. And the answer is yes. If in that situation, you'd have that process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Awesome. Scott, good evening.
I am ready.
Good, that's fantastic.
I need you to show me how to advance the slide.
Oh, I'll just sit here and relax and let you do your thing, or you just,
Or you want to
or you can hit the arrow, whatever you want to do, or enter, either one.
All right, then all I need is for someone to look at the camera and make sure that I'm out of the way and not blocking the slides when I do this.
Good.
Because I'll probably be sitting right here.
Oh, you're awesome.
I'll be all right?
Yep.
You guys, all right, good, thank you. All right, before I start, our district membership, Vice Chair. Morgan Cook isn't here tonight. So I just thought I would give you a real brief report that she would have given if she's here. And it's not a bad idea anyway, because it'll be a nice preface for what we're going to get into. The end of April membership numbers for the council are in, and they're not very good. Year over year, we are down 4.5% as a council over where we were as of the end of April last year. And in Keystone Capital, unfortunately, it's a good deal worse than that. We are down 7% over where we were as of the end of April last year. And just for a little perspective, that we're in, I would say, 4th place out of the five districts. Only one district, Kano, has its head above water. They're up 3% year over year. There's a reason for that, but we won't get into that tonight. And just finally, one thing for perspective: when our two councils merged 10 or so years ago, before my time, I can't tell you exactly when, around 10 years ago, we had over 12,000 registered scouts in the new combined council. As of the end of last year, we had less than 6,000. And yet we still try to put on the same program at the same two camps, and the strain is starting to show. I'm on the council executive board, and I can tell you the strain of that is starting to show. So anyway, that is the membership report that Morgan would have given, with one exception, and that is to let those of you who don't know already know that this year what the district is doing. We have a little membership team, and Carlos is on it. Chip is on it. A couple of other people. And what we've done is we have divided up all the PACs, and we're going to reach out to the PACs and ask if we can invite ourselves to come out and personally sit down and meet with you and help you walk through some of the challenges you might be facing, so that we can help you grow your membership. Now, we're starting with the PACs, because clearly, if you want to grow membership, that's where the biggest bang for the buck is. But we'd be happy to meet with a troop too. So if your PAC, who we are going to reach out to, would be interested in setting up a date when the person who's picked your unit would like to meet, just let one of our key three know. We'll look at the list, let the person who's volunteered to visit with your PAC know, and we'll set up a date for you. And if you're a troop and you would like us to have one of our folks come sit down with your leaders and maybe your unit committee members and kind of walk through some of the challenges you may be facing and some of the things we might do to help you. If you're a troop and would like that, let us know. We'll add you to the list. We would be happy to do that, wouldn't we, Carlos?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. That being said, the presentation I'm about to show you was scheduled for August. And until this morning, it was still scheduled for August. But because of some scheduling discombobulations, all of a sudden it's tonight's program. And I'm going to offer an apology to start with, because in August, I would have had a little lead time. And what I was going to do is prepare printed copies of this PowerPoint, 3 slides to a page with lines beside it, so you could take notes and bring them home with you. I didn't have time to do that today when we finally decided I was going to quickly do this. So my apologies for that. I see most of you have pens and paper. Feel free to take as many notes as you think are worthwhile. So with no further ado, let us get into tonight's presentation, which is on growing membership in 2023. Now let's see if I can get this right. Hit the enter sign, right? There we go. There we go. All right. The first thing about growing membership is that just checking the boxes hasn't worked. Membership has continued to decline. Last year, our council dropped membership by about 3%. It actually would have been closer to 4% last year if we hadn't had some restarts in our urban program in York. So in our, what we like to call our traditional scouting units, we lost almost 4% of our members last year. And council-wide, we lost 24 units. I mean, that kind of took me by surprise when I learned that. I had no idea that we had lost so many. So clearly, we're not reaching all of the kids who would benefit from or even need scouting. Some of you have heard me tell an anecdote before about many years ago when I was a young assistant scoutmaster, and there was a kid in our troop who was kind of struggling, and you know, we worked with him, and I lost touch with him when I changed jobs, couldn't go to the meetings, had to leave the troop. And years later, he came into my office unannounced one day and told me that what I had done for him all those years ago had made all the difference in his life. It had changed his life for the better. I'm going to guess that most of you in this room, as I look around this room, very few of you are new leaders. Most of you have been around a while. I'm going to bet that every single one of you knows a kid who's gone through one of your units who has truly benefited from it. And we're not reaching all those kids if we're losing so many of our members. So as unit leaders, I think we have a responsibility to bring the program to as many scouting age youth as possible. We don't want to fail those kids who truly need it. So what is checking the boxes? Well, the district circulates flyers for us in our schools. Roger Mosley presents anywhere that we still can. We bring yard signs here to Roundtable, pass them out. We do all the things that we've always done. But obviously, based on our membership trend, that isn't enough. We've got to do more than that. So let's talk about the school access challenge, because my goodness, over the years it has gotten tougher and tougher. Many of our schools are already restricting access as a member of district policy. It's not just us, they're just not letting anybody in. We're not being necessarily singled out, but a lot of the schools are just saying we're not going to let you in anymore, and we're actually having unit or districts now, school districts now, that are saying they won't even take our flyers. That they'll do something electronic or something else, but it's getting harder and harder to do even the basics that we used to do. And you know, we like to think COVID is mostly behind us, but you just never know. And the pandemic makes access uncertain, even in the schools that ordinarily let us present. We may think right now, well, you know, my school still loves us. My school's going to let us in September. But you never know what happens between now and then in terms of COVID or something else, and at the last minute you find out that you can't get in after all, and then what do you do? And then the question, of course, is school access even enough if you can get in? So how do we grow our units? Well, there are two basic ways. One is peer-to-peer, and that means friend-to-friend. And the other way is unit-level community recruiting. And what we're basically going to do in this PowerPoint is talk about those two basic ways to grow our units: peer-to-peer and unit-level community recruiting. So let's talk about peer-to-peer recruiting first. From what I am told at our regional territory meetings, that is the single most effective way to grow a unit. And here's the key point. Kids do not join scouting to earn badges or ranks. They don't join scouting to become a wolf or a bear and get a patch or a pin. They join scouting to have fun with their friends. And they'll do that year-round, which means you can recruit year-round, because a kid will join to have fun with their friends at any time of the year. So bring a friend activities are the single best way to grow your unit. And they're super easy because most of the time you can add a bring a friend component to stuff you already have planned and scheduled. If you have a cookout, a hot dog cookout scheduled, or a bike ride scheduled, or stream hike scheduled, simply ask your kids to bring a friend, and maybe you have to incentivize them. Many years ago, and I'll be the first to tell you that stuff that worked 50 years ago or more when I was a scout probably aren't the same things that will work today. But a long time ago, when I was a Boy Scout, we were a troop of about 15, and our scoutmaster, who was very clever, pushed the right buttons and incentivized us to go out and recruit our friends. And in a year, we went from 15 to over 40. So I know, and the incentives may have to be different now than they were 50 years ago, but I know it can be done. I've seen it done. So peer-to-peer, bring a friend activities, and you can do lots of them all year round. Highly recommend that. The other way is unit level or community recruiting, however you like to call it. It is also highly effective and badly underutilized, and we're going to talk about the things that we haven't been doing that we can that will help in that regard. It is better than council and district recruiting campaigns. And just to emphasize that point, last year, because I am the council membership VP, last year I can tell you we did about 8 or 10 different kinds of things. We did a pep rally. You may remember those recorded membership minutes that we did. I could go on and on talking about the stuff we did at the council level and at the district level. And we ended up down 3%, actually almost 4% traditional. So that stuff that we do at the council and district level helps, but it only helps at the margins. What really works is the stuff you do at the unit level. So, and as I said before, school flyers and yard signs aren't enough. So the question is, what are we missing? The key to community recruitment success is use multiple methods to let the community know you're recruiting. Don't rely on a single approach. And let me give you a terrific analogy. We are in the midst of primary election season. Now, it's only local elections this year, but think back a year ago to when folks were running for some of the bigger, more expensive offices, Congress or whatever. They hit you with flyers. How many of you got flyers till you were sick of them in the mail? Yeah. Social media, yard signs, TV advertisements, radio, door to door, on and on and on. And the reason that they do all those different things, remember I was a state elected official for 16 years, so I know these things. The reason that they do all those different things is because they work. Studies have shown that you have to hit a voter several different times in several different ways before your message resonates with them. It may be the same thing with recruiting scouts in your community. What may work with one parent might not work with another, and what does work with a parent might work better if they see it 3 or 4 different ways. So use multiple methods to let the community know you're recruiting. Don't rely on a single approach. The more different things you try, the greater the likelihood you'll reach your target audience. But the codicil at the bottom of that, which is kind of hard to read, says know your community. Try to build your campaign about what's most likely to be effective in your area. Every area is different, so what might be emphasized in one area might be a little different than what needs to be emphasized in another. So know your area and then craft your campaign to that. Okay, first, that school access challenge. There are lots of workarounds. Let's say you have a challenge in terms of getting into your school. Don't throw up your arms and say, I guess we're gonna have to do something else. There are still ways to work with your school, and we're gonna talk about those right now. First, flyers. Most of our schools will still let you distribute flyers and hang a poster or two. Most of our schools will. If they do, make it a good one. And the one here, it's gonna be hard for you to see it, and some of it's actually cut off at the bottom. It's one I found on the internet that I thought was really good, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, it's very colorful, and it's eye-catching. So if it's, for example, stuck up on a bulletin board in a grocery store, somebody's gonna see it as they go by. It tells you who they are. They're Cub Scout Pack 539. It tells you how to get a hold of them, 539.com. It tells you the area it serves. Now again, you probably can't read it from here, but I'm gonna tell you what it tells you the area it serves, serving Kings Park, Smithtown, Commack, and Fort Salonga. This is like I said, from a Long Island pack. It tells you all the fun things that their pack does. They go to Callahan's beach camping. They do rocket launch. They do flag retirements. They have a holiday party, Star Wars movie, carnival night, Islanders game. Remember, it's Long Island. Cradle of Aviation, Pinewood Derby, New York Jets game. I guess that might be a turnoff. Probably not a good idea to add that one in there. Smithtown Bowl, St. Patrick's Day Parade, Blue and Gold, Rain Gutter Regatta, Hoyt Farm Camping, and Battleship Cove. Parent sees that and says, I think my son or daughter would have a ball doing all of that stuff. And then at the bottom, some of the stuff that's basically cut off. It lists 2 specific recruiting events that are upcoming. One of them, a Lego Pinewood Derby race car event. Imagine how a kid would feel about the opportunity to race a Lego Pinewood Derby car at a certain elementary school. And the other one is a rocket launch event at a state park. That flyer, to me, is the epitome of what we ought to be looking to do with our flyers. So again, colorful, eye-catching, clearly identifies your unit, the area it serves, where and when you meet, all your great fun activities, your contact information, and upcoming recruiting events. Let's see. So now let's talk about some more school workarounds. Parking lot pop-up, and I actually have heard from a couple people at our territory meetings who said they were allowed to do this. They were not allowed in the school, but they were allowed to set up a pop-up out in the parking lot where the kids go out to get on the buses, and they were allowed to give out flyers and swag as the kids were walking out of the school and getting on the bus. If you are allowed to go to back to school night, and I think many of you still are, maximize your impact. Make your table eye-catching. Display your rockets, your Pinewood Derby cars, some other fun things, whatever you have that will catch the eye of kids and their parents. Have something fun for kids to see, try, or take home. Design that great flyer. And here's a really important one. Give parents a copy of your program for the year so that when they go home, they can look at that list of all. Back to school night, they're going to get bombarded with all different kinds of stuff. But if they can take home something that shows all the fun things you're going to do over the next year, when they sit down and sort through the stuff they got at back to school night, that may resonate with them.
Hey, Scott, middle schools do this too, right? They have back to school nights in middle schools.
Occasionally, I honestly don't know how many do, but if your middle school does, and you're a troop, my goodness, what an opportunity. Here's one a lot of people don't know about. The BSA has a formal, official Adopt a School program where you swap services to the school for access. Or you do the services anyway, just because it creates a bunch of visibility with the students and their parents, and the service hours that you do count. Some of the things that you can do, and again, this is an official BSA program: grounds beautification, building improvement, giving tree coordination, helpers during festivals, book drive coordination, green effort coordination, literacy program teacher appreciation, cleaning up after school events, food drive coordination. Now, certainly no unit would be expected to do all of those, but you pick 2 or 3 of them, sit down with the superintendent or the principal, and maybe you get access because you've done something for them that gets you in the door when others can't. It's all online, scouting.org/adopt-a-school, and I do recommend, if you're interested in this, that you go there, because this isn't something you just wing. There's actually some paperwork involved in it. So if you're interested, do go to that online and take a look and get more information. If you can't do everything and get into the school, if you can't do adopt a school, perhaps you can implement individual aspects of it. There's more than one way to be visible and get the word out. So, for example, what was in the picture there was a flag raising ceremony on the first day of school. Maybe they'd let you come in and do a flag raising ceremony on the first day of school. Lawn signs with a QR code in the parent drop-off area are a very clever idea. And even if you don't have the resources to put a QR code on a sign, you see at the bottom, maybe it's cut off, it says mypackertroop.com. At least put your contact information on it. Most of you have driven past an elementary school close to getting out of school time and seen that long list of cars lined up for the parents who are going to pick up their child. What are they doing while they're sitting? What are those parents doing while they're sitting there? They're looking at their phone. They're scrolling through. They're on social media. They're texting, whatever. If there's yard signs right there, if the school will at least let you put the yard signs up there during pickup time, all they got to do is take that phone, aim the camera at it, snap it, and they can go home with the information. And again, it's very minimally intrusive to the school. All you say is, hey, for an hour, can we put our signs up in the drop-off area? Does your school have a parents' newsletter or a Facebook page? While they may not allow you the kind of access we're used to, they might be willing to include your membership information electronically. It's certainly worth looking into. Or how about a video? We've all seen those wonderful little 1 and 2 minute videos that National puts out. And I have been told, again, at NST 13 meetings, that there are schools that say, well, we won't let you physically come in the morning we will show a 1 or 2 minute video to the kids for you. And I was told by Jerry Case, who is our Territory 13 membership guy, I was told that if you really want to do this and the school approves and you apply to National, they may personalize the end of one of those National BSA videos for your unit. Hopefully that's still the case. You never know at National when things change, but I was told that that's possible. Work with your school board and PTA. Many school board members and PTA members are parents of Scout-age children. Like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, it is primary election season, and one of the things we're doing this year is electing school board members. And my local weekly paper has published little biographies of all the candidates, and lo and behold, 1 or 2 of them said that they were Cub Scout parents. And I was like, I'm not going to say whether we should support them or not support them for that reason, but if they get elected, that's the person you want to go see on the school board to say, hey, can you help us get access? You understand the value, you know the program, maybe you can help us improve our access and or work with you on some creative solutions, workarounds. Okay, so with school workarounds behind us, now let's talk about community recruiting, because that is truly the ultimate school workaround. Now, if anyone cannot hear me because of that machine, wave at me or something, and I'll try to speak a little louder. First, let's not skip the basics while we're being creative here. By all means, continue to put up your yard signs, and I've got both of them on this photograph. That's my garage door. I've got both the Get Hooked on Scouting, which is the Cub Scout one, and Join Scouting, because you can use that one for Scouts BSA. So troops, don't think this is just about Cub Scouting. Social media is huge. I'm going to say that a second time because it's so important. Social media is huge. Facebook and Instagram are the most important. From what I've heard, a lot of the other ones are of considerably less importance. Geofence. Someone in your unit leadership or unit committee knows how to geofence. This dramatically increases the reach of your social media posts, and it is incredibly inexpensive. So write down geofence and go back to your unit and find who in your unit leadership or committee knows how to do that. It's not hard, and by all means geofence. Add unit website links to all your posts. If you make a Facebook post, always add your unit website link. Post frequently with photos of fun activities. This photo here is of Stream Hike. I took this in 2019 at our Cub Scout Day Camp, but it could just as easily have been a unit event. If you take a photograph like this of kids having fun, they're turning over rocks, they're finding crayfish and salamanders, they're climbing on trees, you post that now. So you take that photo and your unit posts it on Facebook or Instagram. What's the problem? The problem is who sees it? Who sees it is the parents of the kids who are already in your unit. Those are the people who are going to see your unit's Facebook page. The single most important thing, if you were going to ask your parents to only do one thing, nothing else the whole year, just one thing, ask them to share your social media posts when they see them. Because what happens when they share it? All of a sudden, all their friends see it. And who are their friends? Their friends are the parents. They're the same age as them. They're the parents of Scout-age kids. So if your parents just share your Facebook and Instagram posts, you will dramatically, exponentially increase the reach of your social media posts. And remember that great flyer? Give it to parents of prospective Scouts. Run off 100 of them. Pass them out at community events. Circulate them in the community. I bet you your local bike shop might even let you leave them on the counter there. Coffee shops, store windows. Get your flyers all over town. Weekly newspapers and community advertisers. Not everybody has one anymore. A lot of them have stopped publishing, but at least in my area, we have not only a weekly newspaper, but we have an advertiser and something called the Community Courier. And they'll take anything, well, literally anything. If you submit something to them, they will post it. I often see, and I'll tell you, we have a unit in our district that takes tremendous advantage of that in the Hershey-Hummelstown area, and that is PAC 97 and Troop 97 in Londonderry. I often see their stuff in the Community Courier and in the Hummelstown Sun. And that doesn't cost them a penny. They take the photo, they write the stuff up, they put their contact information, they send it off, and everybody sees it. Like I said, it's almost always free, and they're looking for content. Here's just an example of another flyer. This one invites local kids to a Cub Scouts birthday party. And the only reason I put this in here is to just kind of give you the idea of what I mean when I say be creative. You never know, what might work. Community bulletin boards. This is one of my favorites, and it's kind of a pet peeve because at least in my area, it is never used. On this screen, you will see 4 different bulletin boards, community bulletin boards. All 4 of those are within 5 or 8 minutes drive of my house. One of them is in a library, our library, one in a coffee shop, one in a supermarket, and one in a mini mart. And I look at those, and you've probably heard me say this before. I know how to join the National Guard. I know how to take dance lessons. I know how to get my pet groomed. But if I have a Cub Scout age kid, there's nothing on even one of these bulletin boards that tells me how I could enroll my kid in Cub Scouting. Use these community bulletin boards, and you see these little tear-offs at the bottom of those things. Sometimes they work. Right here, I'm looking at 3 or 4 different ones that have the little tear-off pieces gone. And here's a clever idea for you. If you put one of those up, you tear off 2 or 3, so it makes it look like everybody's grabbing for them. Community e-news. Does your borough or township have an electronic newsletter? Mine has a weekly newsletter. A lot of the smaller municipalities do not, but some of them have quarterly e-news. And at least in Derry Township, they will put on a local community organization's information. So if there's a recruiting event or something you want to do, at least in my municipality, they'll put in their e-news for you. Community events, be visible. And I think you all know this one already. Festivals, parades, community service, National Night Out. That photo is of Hershey Troop 203 and PAC 203 at National Night Out a couple of years ago. Farmers markets, Little League games, any gathering is an opportunity, and again, be creative. Don't forget your chartered organization. They can help you. Many of them, especially churches, have outdoor signs. They have indoor bulletin boards. They send out newsletters, church programs, word of mouth, social media. Do not forget your chartered organization. And don't forget to engage your unit committee. They are active in a wide range of community activities and are a valuable source of ideas and assistance. Put them to work. My own units recently were no longer chartered by our Methodist Church. You all know about that. They went to our local Rotary Club, and while the Rotary Club didn't add a lot of members to our unit committee, my gosh, think of all the different people in that club, and if we needed some help and we went to Chip, who's in the Rotary Club, and we say we need help with this or that, I'll bet you he'd know somebody who could help us with that. So don't forget your unit committee. This is one of my new favorites. Be a walking billboard. This is an officially licensed shirt. It's available on Amazon for $14.99, or you can print up your own if you like. I have one of these. I wear it around, and by the way, it comes in men's and women's cuts, and in several colors. So you put this on, and you go to a Little League game this summer. All of a sudden, you're a walking billboard. You wear it to the farmer's market on Saturday morning. You're a walking bulletin. Like I said, I wear mine around, and as the weather warms up, I'll wear it a lot more. Lots of additional resources online. If you go to the Brand Center, there is a ton of stuff online. I won't go through it all here, but don't be afraid to go look, because there's plenty there. And that's it. So there are two things on this slide. One, questions. Happy to take any questions you have. But at the bottom, this is the most important thing. How can we help? Like I said, we have divided up every pack in the district among a group of volunteers who are willing to come and sit down and work with you, sit down with your leaders, sit down with your committee members, see what challenges you're having, because every unit is different. You know, what's challenging to one unit may be entirely different than what's challenging to another. We'd be happy to come sit down with you and figure out how we can work with you and help you succeed. And going all the way back to what I said at the very beginning, you know, our membership numbers are in pretty serious situation. So we really do need to work hard. Again, this is what I intended to do in August. Kind of threw it together quickly tonight, so if it seemed a little rough, I apologize, but hopefully you will have found it helpful. And with that,
Excellent. Can I jump in at the end of that? Because this is my favorite topic.
get in front of the camera, Roger.
Thanks for reminding me. So, this will be my 23rd year recruiting for the Boy Scouts of America, and I actually kind of did it when I was an older teenager too, when I was an assistant scoutmaster. So Chip was saying, "Oh, Roger's helpful with fundraising." This is my favorite thing. You know, fundraising is kind of a necessary thing, but membership is super important. It all starts with membership. Everything that Scott said, everything that Scott had in his presentation is absolutely true, is absolutely essential, and these are the things that help grow your pack and help grow your troop. As far as the basics, the things that I'm involved in, that we do every year, there's a lot of moving pieces in that, especially in September. My day, in any given day in September, all month long, starts with me delivering flyers, and then I'm speaking at the school at lunchtime, and then I'm printing more flyers, and then I'm at a sign-up night, and then I go to sleep, and then I go and deliver flyers, and then and on and on and on. So that's the whole month of September. It drives me absolutely ragged, and I catch a cold about the 3rd or 4th week of September because I'm just so worn out. But it's so important, and there's a lot of coordination that goes on in the district. So every pack has a school. Some packs have 2 schools, elementary schools. Some schools have more than one pack, and they kind of share that, and that takes some coordination. In Derry Township and Hershey, you know, we try to get the 3 packs on one flyer. Because what happens is you have an awesome flyer, and we have one that we approve through the school department. I work with all the superintendents. I'm in contact with them in July, and I make sure that the flyers that we're going to distribute are approved and ready to go. But if Pack 65 put a flyer in, and then Pack 203 put a flyer in, and Pack 200 put a flyer in, and then maybe a Hummelstown pack tries to put a flyer in, and they're not in their own lane. So that starts to wear on a school, and of course in Derry now they only want electronic flyers, so that example is maybe not the best. But that's why it's important that we coordinate as a district and stay in your own lane too. If Halifax wants to put a flyer in Millersburg, you know, the Millersburg unit's gonna be like, hey, how come this flyer's here? We didn't even get a chance to put ours in. So we gotta be fair as well. Kind of like, you know, scouting for food, we stay in our lanes. We wanna do that membership too in the summer, in the fall. So having that district coordination is important. Lower Dolphin School District, it's only flyers. In Derry Township, they've now switched to only a PDF, which anybody who's a parent gets the PDFs from the school, or say click here to open the PDFs. Yeah, I don't know that we have that read. So if I can't get in and speak for a cafeteria or a class to class or another way, it's really important that all of these things are exercised, but every pack and troop should be working on all these things. When I can speak, or when somebody can speak at a school, more kids come out. You know, we look at the numbers. If it's just a flyer, then you might get, 7 kids. But if we're speaking and we have the flyers, you may double that. Because why do people join at a Cub Scout level? A flyer comes home and mom and dad says, oh, this is a cool program. I was a scout and Johnny should be in it. And hey, we're going to go there on Tuesday. So mark your calendars, and off we go. Or the parent may go, I have no idea what this is, I don't know anything about scouting, and there's a lot of parents and families that don't know what scouting is, and so they don't even pay attention to that. But when I speak to the kids at lunchtime and tell them about archery and boating and swimming, and you go to the Harrisburg Senators game and you get to wear a uniform and you have a Pinewood Derby card and you win a trophy, and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to join this program. And they go home, mommy, 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 I want to join Cub Scouts. And all right, well, I don't know what this is, but we're going to go sign up. So, you know, reaching the parents with flyers, but reaching the youth with the in-school presentation. I saw 308 is here. Rutherford, you know, in Rutherford, they allow me to be in a room at recess, and kids who want to hear about scouting come in. And so it's kind of like, well, I guess I'll take that. I'd much rather speak at lunchtime and have everyone's attention. Chambers Hill, we used to do that. Now there's a new principal, and they say, no, we're not going to do that. Upper Dolphin, I do cafeteria. Central Dolphin, it's hit or miss. Lower Dolphin, no. Millersburg, we present in the morning. And Halifax, you know, we have access in, but I never seem to get their date to actually go present. So it's different as we go through. Middletown is yes, but it's a little weird in Middletown with Reed and what have you. So I work with 60 schools, and September is so important. And having that date, time, location, like I said at the beginning of the roundtable, it's so important. Because if you say, oh, we're going to have our sign-up night in 4 days, no, because I put the flyers in the schools 2 weeks in advance, and I have to put it into the workflow and print them and get them out. So it's super important that we're organized, and everything that Scott said on the presentation is done on the pack level. Because a lot of times schools will say to me, hey, you know, we're not going to have you come in and speak, but why don't you come to our sign-up night, or the back to school night?
Open house.
The open house or the back to school night. I'm like, awesome. I don't have time or opportunity to do that, but the PAC definitely does. So, you know, the PAC should be setting up and doing that, and all these other things that you can do. And I'm here to support and kind of coordinate that mass effort in the fall, and that's how we grow.
Yeah, now, I am really glad that Roger brought up the subject of flyers, because at least in Derry Township, which is also where I live, Roger mentioned we have 3 packs, and we try to get all 3 of them on the same flyer, which is fine, and then Roger prints them. Roger prints a flyer that is in black and white, and it has 3 packs on it. That's not the most visually appealing thing. It's great, it's a great service to those 3 packs, but that doesn't prevent you from doing what I showed in the PowerPoint, which is having your unit print up its very own flyer and have it printed in color, whether you have to take it down to Staples or however you do that. Make it visually appealing, unique to your unit. You can have that too and circulate it around your community. There's nothing that prevents you from having your own flyer in addition to that and circulating it all over town. What he does is great. It's a nice service to your units, but your unit shouldn't just rely on that. Like I said, it's black and white. It may have multiple units on it, not particularly visually appealing. It may have to jump through a couple of hoops to meet school district approvals. I mean, they may ask you to put this in it or not put that in it. You can do your own flyers in addition. Make them colorful, put all that fun stuff on them, and get them all over town.
Yeah, the front side's a color picture, and I like in my experience, I like flyers that have water, that have like a tug of war, archery, sharp pointy things, fire. You know, kids resonate with that. You know, kids go, oh, I get to do this. They actually say this to me. Will I get to do this? Will I get to do this? And there was one year in one council, there was a flyer. It was like almost cartoonish. There's a kid, and he's in a Pinewood Derby car, right? And that was the flyer. You know, we know a Pinewood Derby car is this big, but the kids don't know that. And they're like, am I going to get to do that? I'm going to get to do that. I get to do this in a Pinewood Derby car? And so it's important. The kids look at the flyer. They don't read the words. They look at the pictures. And yeah, the council flyer will be color picture, but it's black and white just because of cost. I print 16,000 flyers in the district. We also have a half-size flyer. If you need a half-size flyer, we can do that. The Derry Township ones can be in color because it's PDF.
Yep, I'll leave you with two thoughts. Number one, I think it's very important not to rely on any one thing. The more different things you do, the more likely you are to have success. As I said, the flyer on the bulletin board at Carnes might resonate with one parent. A social media post might resonate with another parent. So don't rely on any one thing. And finally, just based on 50 years of experience, to me, the single most important element in success is an excited leader. A leader who is truly excited and committed to growing, because that truly excited leader will do what? He will energize the other, or she will energize the other leaders, and will energize the parents, and will energize the scouts. And if you have that, you can't lose. You can't lose. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Jane, you had a question?
I wanted to say, Hummelstown Swim Club has a nice swimming lesson program, and there's a lot of adults that have been working for years and love to help the kids. But they're not allowed to put the swimming lesson forms in the school anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's...
Yes.
How
There are a lot of restrictions, and Roger fights that process literally all of the time. And that goes back to Scott's point of saying, don't rely on the one thing.
Yeah.
You will not succeed if you rely on the one thing. We're here to help you. Commissioners, myself and other commissioners are out to try and contact the PACs, see what we can do to help you out, and all of that stuff. So yes, you can't rely on just that one thing. Get the national night out. Do all those other things. Yes.
The other thing is the ideas, having ideas of what to do. Let's say you go to the National Night Out, and it would be nice to give them something for them to have an activity there at the table. What is it? What is the idea?
Right. So the regatta is one of those things we can easily do, easily portable. You just got to haul some water, and you can do a regatta. Get some foam board from Lowe's or Home Depot, and have them build their own boat and race it down the lane, which is what I did for a number of the national night outs in my local community. That's one idea. There are a whole bunch. You know your community. It could be an arts fest. It could be a national night out. It could be a whole lot of things.
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat.
But what do you
That's
do?
a little late in the season, but the bottom line is, but the bottom line is, whatever it is you do in your community, try and get out and do that. If you need to try and bounce some ideas, contact one of us. We've unfortunately probably been there at least once, and we can help you out with any potential ideas. If you want to try and run something, contact a commissioner. We can help you out with that particular part of the process. If you're looking for, well, I want to go to the National Night Out, this is the first time doing it, what should I do? Pick up the phone, pick up an email, call us, let us know. We'll help you out the best that we can, and you can tell us more about your individual community event that will give us that ammunition to try and say, I heard of this working in that style of an event, okay? Because you want to customize it to what's going on. I know that PAC 23, which is right here, they went to the National Night Out. Next thing they know, they more than doubled the size of their PAC in one night. So, yeah, let us know how we can, and we're here to help you in any way we possibly can.
I would say too that you can help us as well. If you have connections with the school board, with principals, and school access is not 100%, you or your parents in your unit can help us get that access in. St. Catherine Library, I go classroom to classroom here in this school. I can't do that in a lot of schools, but when I can do that, it's the same speech over and over for who knows how long, but it's excellent to have that access to be able to do that. You know, with an Eagle Scout pastor walking in the back, it's excellent to have that love of scouting where we have that support, where we can recruit at St. Catherine Library School.
We need to get more Eagle Scout pastors in the school.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right.
He's recruiting right now.
So that's why all the Nevada State's programs.
Woo! All right. One last note for the commissioner staff. Please, if you haven't already signed in, please do so on your way out. Any other questions for the good of the order? Thank you so much. I'll see you all at program launch, right? Every single one.
We shall be there.
June 1. Camp Tuckahoe.
Especially since it was.
Fine.
Sounds like a bad idea.
Okay, that's fine.